Good morning, everyone. Before we start, let's have our prayer first to be led by Miss Yvonne Sumugaysay.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering us today. Guide us with wisdom and integrity as we conduct this pre-bid conference. Help us to be fair, transparent, and just in all our decisions. May this process serve the common good and bring about what is best for all. This we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Good morning once again to everyone, to my back members, back to WG, back secretariat, observers, our partners in the development, and the people of the Republic of the Philippines, especially the constituents of the Sultan Kudarat 2nd District Engineering Office. Today, July 8, 2026, I would like to welcome you to our pre-bid conference. In line of the Department Order 105 Series of 2020, pursuant to Administrative Order 34, issued by the previous President Rodrigo Duterte, dated October 23, 2020, wherein the principles of transparency and accountability in the public service were reiterated. And in order to avoid irregularities in the procurement process, transparency and accountability in all government transactions, especially in procurement process, shall be observed. I formally welcome you to our DPWH SK2 DEO YouTube live streaming for the pre-bid conference of 4 civil works projects. And before we start, I would like to request the back secretariat, Mr. Franco Ribalo Rizzo, to read the attendance.
Okay, good morning everyone. Today's activity pre-bid conference for 4 civil works project dated July 8, 2026. The attendance, and for the attendance, we have for our back members, we have our back vice chairperson who is with us to our live streaming. Our back regular member, Engineer Jahaira Magarang. And to mention, our back vice chairperson, Engineer Abderaden Ampatuan, the chief of the planning and design section, together with our back regular member, Engineer Jahaira Magarang, with our back provisional member, Engineer Jade Cordero, and our NGC representative for civil works, the chief of the construction section, Engineer Pinky Isderuin. For our back technical working group, headed by Engineer Alrafidi Kamamao, members of the back technical working group, Engineer Alvin De Marquez.
Description, ABC and duration. Next is the requirements of bidding documents, including the instructions to bidders, general conditions of contract, special conditions of contract, specifications, drawings, bill of quantities, and forms. Next is the documents to be submitted by the bidders. And the criteria and procedure for eligibility checked, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, and post-qualification and award. Number 2 is the questions, comments from the bidders, and replies of BAC and other representatives of procuring entity. Other matters and the summary of proceedings, including the bid bulletins to be issued. Now I will give the floor to the planning and design engineers for the basic contract data as well as the discussion of.
We have 2,892.05 cubic meters. For the subgrade preparation of the detailed longitudinal sections, 400 millimeter by 400 millimeters, 592 meters. Precast concrete piles driven, 592 meters. Test piles furnished and driven, 400 by 400 millimeters, 48 meters. Pile shoes, 40 each. Splicing of RC piles with epoxy, 40 each. Concrete railing, standard, 124.52 meters. Reinforcing steel, grade 40, 4,265 kilograms. Reinforcing steel, grade 60, 66,513 kilograms. Structural concrete, 20.68 MPa, 10 cubic meters. Structural concrete, 27.58 MPa, 300. Protection, 194 cubic meters. Deck drain, protection, 194 cubic meters. Deck drain, type 1 cast iron, 24 each. And for miscellaneous structures, metal guard rail, single WB metal guard rail, single W beam, 320 linear meters. Metal beam and piece fishtail, 8 each. Tapered solar LED roadway lighting, 8 meters, 60 watts to 100 watts, 10 each. Here's the index of sheet and the quarry map. Next is the location map, vicinity, and geotag photo. The topographic plan, the general notes, continuation of general notes, the general plan and the general elevation, the typical cross-section at abutment and typical cross-section at pier, the craneway and coffer damming plan, the craneway and coffer damming elevation, the roadway profile, the river profile, the river cross-section, another river cross-section continuation, the bore log. Next is the framing plan showing top reinforcing steel bars and the bottom reinforcing steel bars. The longitudinal section and its detailed longitudinal section, the transverse section at middle span, and transverse section at support. The reinforcement schedule and estimated quantities for superstructure. The multi-flex expansion joint detail. The pre-stressed girder elevation sections at mid-span and block, tooth at end view, and block reinforcement detail, tooth detail, dowels, and at end and mid-block. Here's the camber diagram and the girder design guide. Next is the reinforcement schedule and estimated quantities for superstructure. The transverse section, concrete pouring sequence, details of diaphragm at the middle of the girder. The details of diaphragm at the middle of girder and at the abutment. Next is the elevation, the railing section, post section, and typical railings details. Next, we have the deck drain detail, sidewalk detail, paraffin joint, deflection joint of typical railing and sidewalk details. Now we have the pier detail, its elevation and section. The pier footing plan, along with its elevation and sections. The detail of girder riser and shear block at pier, with its plan and spiral splice detail, riser section, shear block section, of the detail of girder riser and shear block at pier. Here is the reinforcement schedule and estimated quantities for superstructure for pier. The abutment detail. Another abutment detail and wing wall detail. The continuation. Here's the shear block and riser plan, shear block section, shear block and riser elevation, and the reinforcement schedule and estimated quantities for abutment. Now we have the pile details for it contains pile splice detail, pile elevation, and pile tip for hard driving. Continuation of the pile details. The approach slab details. its plan and section, the continuation of approach slope details. Here's the standard painting. Note, when facing the black and white stripe painting, it should be in this orientation. Next, the guardrail detail with the flex beam guardrail plan, flex beam guardrail elevation, flex beam guardrail perspective view, and flex beam guardrail section. Continuation of the guardrail detail for flex beam and tail, its section, elevation, post, flex beam detail, and guardrail set out standard installation for end terminal. The road cross sections, next is the typical plan of two-lane pavement, detail of concrete slab, the details of expansion joint doweled at certain intersections and structures, details of joints in rigid pavement, longitudinal construction or contract joint, butt difference, transverse construction or contract joint, weekend plane joint used in half-weight construction, detail of ramp approach. We have the typical roadway section for approach A, approach and approach B, the roadway slope protection elevation, the detail of grouted riprap slope protection, and detail of weep holes. Next, we have the abutment protection plan as well as its elevation. Next is abutment protection rebars detail and the abutment protection cross section and the DPWH standard project billboard. Let's proceed to the next project and the last project with the contract ID of 26MH0087. The name of the contract is Construction Completion of Multipurpose Building, Barangay Puloy Puloy, Libak, Sultan Kudarat, with the coordinates of 6.630548 to 124.098568. The location of the project is Libak, Sultan Kudarat. The scope of works, the project covers the provision of labor, materials, equipment, miscellaneous tools, and other related construction requirements necessary for the construction completion of multipurpose building, Barangay Puloy. Approved budget for the contract, 6,130,000 pesos. And the contract duration, 175 calendar days. So here is the detailed engineering design plan for construction completion of multipurpose building, Barangay Puloy Puloy, Libak, Sultan Kudarat. Here's the geotag photo, the exterior perspective, the site development plan, and the location map. Next, we have the front elevation, right side elevation, the existing floor plan, and proposed floor plan. With a note that wall finishes must be applied with neutralizer concrete, sealer or primer, patching compound skim coat, and 2 coats of paint, semi-gloss latex. Ceiling finishes must be applied with glazing putty, flat wall, enamel, or enamel quick dry, and tinting color. Another note, painting of steel structure use gray oxide primer with catalyst before applying enamel paint. For the floor area, the existing ground floor area is 141.23 square meters. For the proposed second floor area is 92.92 square meters, and the total floor area is 234.15 square meters. Here's the schedule of floor and wall finishes. And we have the longitudinal section through Y, rear elevation, left side elevation, and cross-section for the existing building. Here is the proposed floor plan and its right side elevation, front elevation, left side elevation, cross-section through X, rear elevation, longitudinal section through Y, and the schedule of doors and windows. Next is the reflected ceiling plan. Now we have the phase 2 barangay hall roof plan, covered court, and guardhouse roof plan. Next, the typical ceiling joist detail, the detail of concrete canopy, the roofing fixture, roof panel side lap detail, the text screw spacing, the detail of railings, and the face to barangay hall furnitures. For reference, we have mobile pedestal recessed handle 12 sets, L-shaped sofa 1 set, a rectangle conference table 9 set, senior executive chair 9 sets. Next, we have the detail of the fence or gate. Next is the detail of stairs, its sectional elevation and plans, as well as the blow-up detail. Next is the detail of concrete letter S. Front elevation, the section detail, and its section details. Now we have the general notes. The continuation of the general notes. Next is the framing layout plan and the foundation layout plan. Next is the detail of footings. We have F1C1, F2C2, and F3C3. The schedule of the footing and beam, and the typical detail column. The typical detail of beams, downlight, and luminaire 2 by 36 watts, 2 36 watts fluorescent plan and power layout plan, continuation. And for reference, we have 300 watts high bay black aluminum and solar LED floodlight 7,000 to 8,000 lumens. Now we have the load schedule, the electrical riser diagram, for panel board 1, 2, and G. Next, we have the ACCU mounting detail, FCU mounting detail, the panel board or distribution panel board for a diagram. Next, we have the emergency layout plan and the fire extinguisher detail. For reference, we have this emergency light and the fire extinguisher emergency light schedules. For the summary of quantities, we have structure excavation, 69.74 cubic meters. Embankment from roadway or structure excavation, 45.43 cubic meters. Embankment from borrow, common soil, 93.35 cubic meters. Gravel fill, we have 35.01 cubic meters. Structural concrete, 3,000 psi. We have 72.48 cubic meters. For reinforcing steel, grade 40, 3,989.98 kilograms. Reinforcing steel, grade 60, 2,370.63 kilograms. Formworks and false works, we have 359.92 square meters. For CHB non-load bearing 100 millimeters, 102.99 square meters. For CHB non-load bearing 150 millimeters, 95.80 square meters. Carpentry and joinery works, 1 lump sum. Finishing hardware, 1 lump sum. Aluminum frame glass, swing type, 5.67 square meters. Aluminum glass windows, sliding type, 7.44 square meters. Aluminum glass windows, fixed type, 11.95 square meters. Doors, flush, 3.36 square meters. Doors, wood panel, 1.89 square meters. Ceiling, 4.5 millimeter fiber cement board, 135.05 square meters. Waterproofing cement base, 17.50 square meters. Glazed tiles and trims, 120.74 square meters. Unglazed tiles, 4.48 square meters. Cement plasters, 1 lump sum. And lighting fixtures, 1 lump sum. Here is the geohazard map and the DPWH standard project billboard. And this
Kasi nag-o-open ng ah, yung lowest calculated bidder ay mag-undergo ng post-qualification. Pagka po si lowest calculated bidder ay pumasa sa post-qualification, automatically siya pa yung magiging lowest calculated responsive bid. Otherwise, pag na po na fail si lowest calculated bidder, si TWG po ay immediately magko-conduct po ng post-qualification doon sa second lowest calculated bidder, and so on and so forth, until such time na ma-determine yung lowest calculated responsive bid. And take note, itong mga stages, yung detailed evaluation of bids, preliminary examination of bids, and post-qualification, ay meron po itong specific timeline in accordance sa new Procurement Act. And take note, dito po sa post-qualification, very meticulous po dito si TWG regarding po doon sa mga equipment pledge. At saka po doon sa manpower na pledge ni bidder. Make sure po na yung mga manpower na na-pledge ay accredited po ng DPWH. And pagka meron na po tayong lowest calculated responsive bid, si BAC ay mag-i-issue ng resolution recommending award to the lowest calculated responsive bid. And then i-approve ni head of the procuring entity or ni district engineer. After nun, mag-i-issue na po ng notice of award. Before we proceed to the next agenda, gusto ko lang po sana i-suggest doon po sa ating mga bidder or contractor na sana po mag-maintain kayo ng updated na eligibility documents sa CWA para po maiwasan po natin yung delay ng ating procurement process. Maiwasan po natin yung mga unlocking which cause delay. And kung meron po kayong mga issues and concern, please let us know and we will try our best to address your issues and concern. Pwede po kayong pumunta dito sa office or kaya pwede po kayong mag-message dun po sa chat box po natin. And that would be all, Ma'am Jade. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Freno. We just finished our first agenda. We now give chance for our interested bidders to speak, or since the second agenda is the questions or comments from the bidders and replies of back and other representatives of procuring entity. May I ask Mr. Ralph to check if there's any query in our live streaming? Since there are none, I would like to proceed to the third agenda, the other matters. However, we will still entertain the questions if some will be raised. Fellow back member, TWG and Secretariat, any other matters to be discussed or raised?
Yes, ma'am. Just a reminder from the back secretariat. that today, the July 8 pre-bid conference for this 4 civil works project will be scheduled for opening on July 21, 2026, and to be reminded that all interested bidders shall pwede po kayong mag-transact sa ating office Mondays to Fridays from 8 a.m. to 5 a.m. if you want to avail the bidding documents. And the bidding documents is available for download at DPWH website and also sa ating modernized PhilJobs website. Just key in kung ano po yung contract IDs na gusto nyong salihan. Kung sa DPWH website, dun sa opportunity icon or sa business icon. Pag dito naman po sa ating PhilJobs, the opportunities na tab, hanapin po ninyo and search po ninyo yung particular project ID, contract ID na gusto nyo salihan, or you may use the keyword, yung project location. And yung format po ng ating bidding documents is naka-format po yan ng A4 size document. It was, ang ginagamit po natin dyan na RA is the RA 12009 adopted na po ng mga requirements. Along also yung ating DO 9 series of 2012, yung ating categories of work, yung ating manpower requirement, equipment requirement. So nandun na po nakalagay yung mga kinakailangan. Yung bibili nga po pala ng mga bidders, pwede po kayong mag-direct sa ating office, bumili, or any other DPWH offices, DEOs, original offices. Pag dito po sa ating district po kayo pumunta sa Libak Sultan Kudarat, magdala po kayo ng credentials. Pwede pong si owner ang pumunta or the authorized liaison. If else hindi naman po available talaga yung lagyan po ninyo ng pagination number at pirmahan all pages and particularly yung mga dapat mong pinipirmahan. Yung like for example yung sa ating bid form, no, lagyan po ninyo ng initials ng inyong mga declared bid, no, yung bid na proposed pala alongside with your bid form, and yung mga discounts lagyan po ninyo ng mga signatures. And so, to be reminded din sa mga bid na sa-submit po ninyo, dapat po na-check po ninyo, pirmado lahat, notaryado lahat, present yung mga documents as per checklist, and anything that would be yung attachment na required ay dapat po present, no? Yung declaration or disclosure of lahat ng mga projects ninyo, yung pledge equipment. So, yan po mga reminders natin, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Lorizo. And thank you, everyone. We will continue to the last part of the agenda, the summary of proceedings, including the bid bulletins to be issued, to be given by the support staff, Ms. Sumagaysay.
Good morning, everyone. Today, July 8, 2026, the pre-bid conference was called to order at 10 a.m. by our back member, Engineer Jade Cordero. The basic contract data, including contract description, ABC, and duration, was discussed by the planning engineers. Documents to be submitted by the bidder, both technical and financial component envelope, was discussed by Engineer Melody de Monteverde, one of our back TWG members. The criteria for eligibility screening, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, and post-qualification